Hey everybody, welcome back to another Let's Talk About Movies We Own. This is Stitch 1993 with my wife.
Hi, everyone.
And if this is your first time watching these videos, basically we talk about 20 movies an episode. And we've been doing this for over a year now. We own over now 1,300 movies physically through DVD, Blu-ray, and VHS. Most of the movies we're going to talk about are DVD and Blu-ray, and then later on we'll talk about our VHS collection. And we go by genre, so we've done action, adventure, animation, Disney, Halloween / horror, Christmas / holiday, documentary, and comedy. And now we're on drama. This is part 2, and I believe this is going to be 4 parts or 5?
It's going to be quite a few.
We
have quite a few dramas.
So we just basically, you'll see the poster show up on the screen, and then we just give our thoughts on the film if we have thoughts each. Sometimes the movie is just one that one of us likes, and so just one of us will give our thoughts on it. Though most of these movies we have both seen. So we'll start off with Charade. And that is one we recently saw probably about a year or so ago, starring Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn. For some odd reason, I keep thinking this is an Alfred Hitchcock film. It's not, but it has sort of the same type of vibe. Somebody's been murdered, and so now there's a suspect with it, which is Audrey Hepburn. You also got Cary Grant kind of tagging along and trying to figure out whether he's the killer or just somebody that's helping. And it's the trailers say it's a comedy, romance, mystery film, and I would say that's pretty apt. They're of course it's Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn. They're great at what they do. This is like Cary Grant in the later years. This is like peak Audrey Hepburn, I would say. So if you're interested in either of those people, definitely check it out. You also got people like Walter Matthau and James Coburn showing up in this film as well. So what were your thoughts?
I really enjoyed it. The only thing that doesn't sit well with me is the age gap between Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn, but it is a product of its time. It came out in the 60s.
Yes.
And we've only, in the past 20-ish years started getting away from those kinds of stories where there is this really awkward kind of gross age gap.
I would say more in the last 10, honestly.
Yeah, we started pointing it out about 20 years ago.
But it didn't start course correcting till the past maybe 10 or so years.
Yeah. That is one thing that doesn't sit well with me. But if you look at it as a product of its time and just sit back and really enjoy Cary Grant doing what he does best and Audrey Hepburn doing what she does best. She has one line delivery in this entire movie that gets me every time, and it is that I'm having a nervous breakdown. And delivered in a way that only Audrey Hepburn could. So if you go in to this noting the time that it was made, realizing it's a product of its time, you will have a good time watching this movie. If you go in with today's sensibilities watching this movie, you are not going to have fun.
I gotta say, that's probably for most Audrey Hepburn's films.
Yeah.
Sadly, she just was a star during that period in time in Hollywood where questionable stories were being told. So, most of her film, with other films, certain characterizations that are looked down upon nowadays. It's unfortunately just most of her library is just you gotta just remember when it was made and go in with that. But they're all really great, and she's a fantastic actress. So, moving on, Charlie Bartlett it's a fine film. I'd say it's one of those films where you just look at it and oh hey, this is that whole bunch of Avengers people in it. Literally right before Avengers started. This is 2007. Iron Man would come out in 2008. And all these other characters would start showing up later on. It's just about a kid in the suburbs in high school that is well off, so he's able to have a psychiatrist, and he just basically he finds that he can literally just get prescriptions filled because the doctor like gives him a blank prescription pad, and so or he'll like talk to the kids and like say the same thing to his psychiatrist, so he gets prescribed it, and then he just gives it to the kids. And one could say this is like a look into like why we need better healthcare, especially with medical healthcare, but it doesn't really dive into that. It's more of a comedy kind of, haha, isn't it funny that the kid is rich enough that he can just kind of get like one of the best doctors to just prescribe him whatever and it will work, because all these other kids don't have the health insurance or the means to go and seek that. But again, it's all played up for laughs. Interesting enough. I feel like nowadays it would be it'd be more of a drama film. I mean, I know this isn't drama, but it's more of a dramedy type of film, whereas nowadays it would probably be more of a straight up drama sort of film. But yeah, I mean, it's great acting from everybody: Robert Downey Jr., Anton Yelchin, Kat Dennings, and other people there that, as you said, was a lot of people from.
There's like 3 or 4 different kids from Degrassi in this. I think it might have been shot in Canada, and that's why.
That makes sense.
And then we also have Megan Park, who went on to do Secret Life of American Teenager, which is a dumpster fire of a show, but she's great in this. Tyler Hilton from One Tree Hill was doing this and One Tree Hill at the same time. So teen me watching this movie is just losing her mind because I know all of these kids.
This was definitely made for a teen audience, at least
definitely
mid-2000s teen audience.
But it doesn't feel like how a lot of teen movies from the mid-2000s did, where
it's not dumb. Like nobody's
like everyone's honestly giving it their all.
Yeah,
and the dramatic moments really hit, and they hit like. Especially the scene where Robert Downey Jr. has lost his job and he has gone off the deep end and is waving a gun around. He sells that so convincingly. You honestly think he's about to shoot this kid.
Mm-hmm.
And just... It does end on a happy note. Everyone, ends up where they should be. And it is kind of a... just kid trying to find his place in life kind of story, but he goes about it the wrong way.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so Coal Miner's Daughter, this was I think I just saw this for the first time this year.
You did.
And it's fine. Sissy Spacek can sing. I didn't see that coming. But yeah, the girl from Carrie can sing really, really well. And then also Tommy Lee Jones really tries his darnest to sound like Andy Griffith. That always took me out of the film because I'm just like, no. I don't know if it was because I don't know. I mean, this is based off of Loretta Lynn and her husband. I don't know how close Tommy Lee Jones looks to Doolittle Lynn. It might have just been they were trying to get somebody that looked pretty close like him, or Tommy Lee Jones was just this I think it was one of his early films, so they're just like just get him to do this. But yeah, it's just it always just like every time he talked, I was like, I'm sorry, why are we doing this really weird accent here? Although people do talk like that, it's just Tommy Lee Jones does not. But yeah, I mean it's the story of Loretta Lynn. It's a who is a, if you don't know, country music artist, pretty popular in the 70s and 80s. You probably know a couple of her songs if you look them up on YouTube or Spotify, and you're like, oh yeah. But it's also just kind of a beat by beat story of rags to riches type of stories. as most of these do. There's nothing new or really even really interesting visually. Is literally just kind of a this is what happened at this time of date. I'm not the biggest Loretta Lynn fan, so I don't know how correct it is. You probably have more thoughts on that.
From what I remember, it is, from what I know of her, it is pretty accurate. But I think the real heart of it is just how well Sissy Spacek portrays
Right.
Loretta. Like, she does such a good job.
She does.
Because, you hear Loretta, no, well, not Loretta, you hear Sissy speak in just like her normal
Yeah.
speaking, and it's nothing like how she speaks in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she really commits, and she does such a good job. And I remember growing up on this movie a lot because my grandma was a huge Loretta Lynn fan.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie's done really well for the time that it's made, because you got to remember, this is a little bit of an older movie for
Yeah.
a biopic. This is something we would expect more to come out today than when it did.
Right.
But they did a really good job on it. They really showcased not just the relationship between Loretta and Doolittle, but her friendships that she made.
Yeah. This is definitely because, as you said, it would seem something that would be closer to release today than back when it did. It probably was one of the films that definitely kind of laid down the blueprint for pretty much, at least for all this country music
Yeah.
artist films we get since then. I mean, to be fair, just a lot of the way country artists from back then, how they came to be, kind of all similar stories and similar downfalls ish. For those who did have downfalls, Loretta Lynn, not as much. I mean, still had
Hers was definitely like being a workaholic
yeah,
type of issue.
yeah, which some of them do have, but it's either like workaholic or drugs or alcohol or like a mixture of all three, or you do the drugs and alcohol because of the workaholic or vice versa. So yeah.
And I really appreciated that they didn't shy away from the Patsy Cline of it all.
Mm,
Like, really showcasing that they were close, they were friends, and then not shying away from the fact that she did die young.
yeah.
And how that ends up affecting Loretta later on.
Mm-hmm.
Because now she's lost that close friend, that her confidant that she went to.
Yeah. Speaking of country music movies that would come out later, Country Strong, which I keep thinking this was like a 2000s movie, but no, it came out in 2010. I feel like it's just kind of a reversal of like the gender swap of Stars Born,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Basically, like if you've seen any of the Stars Born, but like just reverse roles for the male and female leads, this is pretty much Country
But kind
Strong.
of more messed up.
Pretty much a lot more well, I mean, depend on the version of A Star Is Born that you watch, but yeah, it is. It does not end happy.
It does not. It's got a really sad ending.
It does. It does.
This movie, part of the reason we own it is for a very sentimental reason for me. So this movie did come out in 2010, but I didn't see it until December of 2011.
Mm-hmm.
First time I saw this movie is because I couldn't sleep the night before my grandfather's funeral.
Ah.
So this is definitely one of those very sentimental. For some reason, it was comforting. I think it was. I'm pretty sure, even though he plays a terrible person in this movie, it's Tim McGraw being in the movie that made it comforting for me, because I always associate that with my grandparents.
Yeah.
So, part of the reason we own this movie, even though it is so sad, is that personal connection that I have with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is acted really well. The only note that I have in it, even though I love her and pretty much everything else she's done, is Leighton Meester in this movie. Her voice is grating. Like, her singing voice is kind of nails on a chalkboard.
Oh no.
Which is a little painful for me because she covers like 2 of my favorite country songs in this movie, so it kind of made it hard to listen to. Because she covers both What Hurts the Most by Rascal Flatts and A Little Bit Stronger by Sarah Evans. And I'm like, oh, why? But Garrett Hedlund does a really good job kind of playing... There's a love triangle in this. It's between Garrett Hedlund, Leighton Meester, and Gwyneth Paltrow. He does a really good job playing the anchor of that love triangle without coming off skeezy. A lot of times, if there's a dude at the center of a love triangle, it comes off like, really skeezy. Mm-hmm. But this one, it's kind of more of a natural shifting from one relationship to the other when you're dealing with someone with addiction problems and codependency issues. And they do go into why she is at the point she is, Gwyneth Paltrow's character is at the point she is in this, and it's because of alcoholism and a miscarriage.
Right.
And the fact that she seems to, like a lot of people do before going past where you can't come back from, she does seem to get better right at the last moment. And that's usually your sign something bad is about to happen. So they send her on this tour with the other 2 to kind of rehab her image after going to rehab. And she's not able to perform. She's constantly having to drop out. They're basically just getting the opening act, and that's the end of it. And then finally, her last performance, she gets up there, she's sober, she does her whole set, and then she's gone. Mm-hmm. And movie ends with a funeral, and the other 2 parts of the love triangle meeting back up later. So it's sad.
Cruel Intentions. Yeah, this is that movie that they parody in Not Another Teen Movie. And really, that's pretty much all you need to know about this film. It is something. It feels like it's one of those films. Is this based on a book?
It is. It's based on a French book.
A French book. Okay, so that makes a little bit more sense. But it's then trying to Americanize, and I feel like it's just one of those films that just like, because it's French, they try to be edgy with it for edginess sake, and it really doesn't work.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, they're all great actors and stuff, but like outside of that one scene and the song at the ending, was it Clocks?
No, it's Bittersweet Symphony.
Bittersweet Symphony. I'm not gonna recommend this film.
The relationship between the step siblings is really creepy. That is not why you watch this movie. It's the progression of the relationship between Ryan Phillippe and Reese Witherspoon's character. That is really heartwarming to watch. That's really sweet to watch.
Yeah.
But it does follow that typical 90s storytelling of it starts off as a bet, it starts off as a dare, it starts off as whatever.
And then
he actually starts developing feelings.
Yeah.
But that's the most satisfying part of the movie for me is right at the end where Sarah Michelle Gellar's character gets what's coming to her and like everybody turns on her and it's really satisfying. I saw this way too young. I'm pretty sure I saw this in elementary school.
I probably saw it way too late. I feel like this is like, if I were a teen and saw this, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is great. Isn't it? Knock down a bunch of, really pushing that envelope. Whereas, I saw this in my late 20s, and I'm just like,
Seeing this, if the first time you see this movie is when you're a fully actualized adult, it's gonna be really, really creepy.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really creepy. And you're gonna be asking yourself the whole time, where are the parents?
Right.
This is not one of those movies you recommend to somebody, but it is one of those, in order to understand a lot of references made and other things, you should probably see it once in your life.
Yeah, as I said, if you've watched Not Another Teen Movie and you see that scene, you're like, what the hell is that from? And it's from Cruel Intentions.
Pretty much every time you're wondering what weird thing is happening in Not Another Teen Movie, it's a Cruel Intentions reference.
Yeah. By the way, definitely go and check out Not Another Teen Movie, because that's just a nice little capsule of time there of teen films. But anyways, going on. Words. Dead Poet Society.
Oh, I didn't pull that one up.
So I'm gonna say something. I don't really like this movie. I like Robin Williams, but then again, he's one of my favorite actors, and he's like, he can do no wrong, kind of thing. This is coming from the same person that likes Bicentennial Man. So like, other than that, I don't really care for this film. I get it. He's like an English teacher trying to get these kids to like fall in love with English and stuff, and it works. But because, you know, he's the cool teacher, he does it differently. But we've seen this in a bunch of films, and it's just you got, you know, the Ethan Hawke character and his whole story. I'm just like, my wife would say differently about this, but the whole time I was like, I don't care. I don't care. That sucks that he does what he does, but
I think you're getting two characters mixed up.
yeah, probably because they all look the same. Oh my god, they got like all the actors that like put them in a room and I like would not know which one killed him, kind of thing. It's just like they all look dang the same, facial wise. They're tall, 5'8", white male. Yep. Whiny white male. And then you got Robin Williams, who's just, you know, acting his butt off because it's freaking Robin Williams. And yeah, this is the movie with where old Captain My Captain comes from. And a couple other quotes, but mainly that one. But yeah, it's just one of those eye-rolling movies for me.
And see, I love this.
I know you do.
And I think with this one, people fall into one or two camps. They either love it or they hate it. And it's, if you had a rougher home life growing up, you tend to love it. And if you had the almost peaches and cream home life growing up, you hate it. Because you can't fully connect to what the kids are going through.
I really can't. And it's not one of those films where I like saw it later in life. I saw this in high school, and this was what, college? Their college or their high school?
High school.
They're high school. So, and it was in an English class. And the whole time I'm just like, okay.
Like, I think one of the things with this movie that really works for me is the importance of having good influences outside of your family in your life.
Oh, definitely.
Because that's what Robin Williams is for these kids. It's not just he's a teacher doing it different. He's actively trying to engage his students.
But that's just kind of what all those weird teachers is like, oh, it's because it's a teacher that cares. I'm just like, yeah, the story is, if the teachers cared, then the students will care. I'm like, no shit.
But also, up until like the past 15, 20-ish years, teachers weren't actively engaging their students. They were just like, here's the material, here's your coursework, do it, hand it in, I'm done.
Depending on the school and the teacher. I'm sure everybody has a different story about growing up with certain teachers and stuff.
We're getting more kids with more examples of good teachers than less. Like, even when we were going to school, you'd have like 1 or 2 teachers a year at most for most kids.
Sure, I will go with that.
But, by the time, like, my younger cousins were going to high school, they were just like, yeah, I've got this one and this one and this one all in the same year, and I've only got one teacher that sucks.
That sounds more like how I grew up in high school. I really can only count on one hand teachers that really did not make an impact. All my other teachers were like grade A, they were there for the kids, kind of teachers there, and I still have some as friends today. But yeah, but going back to the film,
Yeah. I mean, it does really highlight like the importance of having a support system, and what happens when you don't have that, whether it's at home or at school,
yeah,
and the consequences on that young teenage brain when you don't have the support system, and what it ends up leading to and what it can end up leading to.
right,
Especially when you have parents that are rigidly set on where they want you to be in life, where they want you to go to life, and not listening to what you're saying.
right,
So if you're somebody who's going through that, or like know someone who's actively going through that, when you see this movie, it's going to touch you more than someone who has really supportive parents who are just like, outside of any medical conditions or laws, you can pretty much be whatever you want to be, which is what you had growing up, which
For
is
the most
why
part,
this
for the
movie
most part.
doesn't
yeah.
interest you as much.
Well, even without that whole plot line, it's just the whole teacher getting them to like certain subject because he's more, as you said, more supportive. Like, there's better movies that do that. This is just happens to be the one Robin Williams is in. I just I feel like it's just it was done better in other films before and definitely after. But anyways, Dream Child. Okay,
Ooh.
so first off, don't go and look up the trailer to this film online because it tries to paint like this is just kind of the girl that was based on Alice Hargraves, that the story Alice in Wonderland is based off of, is having a nice walk down memory lane in her elder years, remembering the times of Lewis Carroll, aka Mr. Dodgson, played by Ian Holm, which, by the way, great acting by Ian Holm. Don't know that name. He's Bilbo Baggins from the Lord of the Rings film, among other things, but that's where most people probably know him from. But the trailers really tries like, oh, this is a nice little walk down memory lane there. But really, honestly, it is okay. So this is takes place when Alice Hargraves is elderly. I don't know how much this is actually based on like true story. Like, I don't know if she actually did do this when she was older and got interviewed and such. I'm sure probably, but I don't know in this exact way. But there's a whole tour kind of going on in the United States, celebrating, the 70th year, whatever, of the Alice in Wonderland book, and they're getting her to like talk at colleges and stuff. And there's a reporter from like the New York Times or whatever, wanting to interview her, and the interviewer is Peter Gallagher, and she recalls her times of being, a child and spending time with Lewis Carroll, and realizing that probably wasn't a good relationship, and that he was more so grooming her than anything else, and he was pretty much a creep. And there's been stuff that's come out. Yeah, that dude was weird. But it's kind of like, the whole, going back to the trailer, really doesn't harp on any of that. So, viewer beware. It's kind of a, depending on how you were up, brought, it may be triggering. The only really interesting thing, other than, the acting, is like sometimes, all right, so she's going through, like, because she's up there in age, she goes through these like mental lapses where she hallucinates parts of the Alice in Wonderland book, and the creatures are all like done very distinctively based on the original drawings, but puppeteered by the Jim Henson Company. So you've got like Labyrinth style scenes in this film that are really well done, and it goes back and forth between Coral Brown interacting with puppets, and then also the younger version of herself interacting as well with said puppets. And yeah, it is just a very interesting film. Honestly, I would have preferred if it was just, a full on Jim Henson take on the Alice in Wonderland film. We just got a full, like, story using those type of puppets that are shown in a couple of scenes there. And if that's what you want to get out of this film, definitely check it out, because there's quite a few scenes. They're all done really well. But if you kind of want to dive into, during a time when that still wasn't really talked about, and even today, like, you really gotta, like, go in and look up history and stuff to find out dude was pretty much a creep. But I mean, it's Alice in Wonderland is like one of those classics, and because he's been dead for so long, you can definitely separate the art from the artist now. But yeah, you have seen this film at least once.
I've seen it once, and the only thing that stuck with me was how creeped out I was.
I mean, it is supposed to be that.
Like,
It is.
we finished watching that movie, and I turned to you and said, I never want to watch this again.
No, and I understand that. As I said, it depending on how you're brought, it can be triggering, but it is supposed to be creepy. Like, they're not downplaying anything or trying
Except
to.
for the trailer.
Yeah, the trailer. I feel like whoever put that trailer together did not watch the film, or like was given just like bullet points that need to be in it, because it is nothing like the actual film itself. Okay, Divine Secrets of the Ya-Ya Sisterhood. Great.
Also kind of upsetting.
Yeah. Depending on how you were raised. And this is another one I really don't like. The acting, spectacular, because you got, Sandra Bullock and Maggie Smith, as well as other people in it. But it's really one of those, oh, yeah, no, they're in the South. And as my wife pointed out before we started recording, this is kind of a take that a lot of people, even today in the South, have strong views of this way. It's like, yeah, your mom, in this case it's the mom, but yeah, your parent was, a crap parent, and either verbally or mentally or physically abusive, was an alcoholic, but they're your parents, so you gotta love them and just overlook all that. Because they tried their darnest, gosh darn it. And I'm just like, hell no, drop them. Cut off all relations with them.
And the thing is, with this movie, they don't show Sandra Bullock immediately giving in to the "it's your mom" confrontation.
Oh, of course.
She puts up a fight the whole way through. She's like, yeah, that's my mom, but you weren't there the whole time and saw what I saw. So you're getting these competing vignettes of her mom when she was really young and when she was like in her teens with her friends, and her friends are showing like the good times and telling her the good stories, and then she's coming back with, yeah, but remember the time she beat me?
Yeah.
Or
But I feel like in the end she's still like,
it's more like she's kind of at peace with it and realizes that, my mom's older, she's gonna do what she's gonna do. But I can still be like, hey, if you're gonna act like this, you can't do this.
yeah. I still, I didn't enjoy it just because it really was kind of a.
I enjoyed, like, the performances are done so well.
Oh,
in this. And
yeah.
Ashley Judd is amazing in this because she plays the younger mom. And to, like, show all the different changes that she goes through. And it really kind of plays off more that the mom probably had postpartum depression that never got treated because she didn't start going downhill until she started having kids.
Yeah.
And then turned to alcohol because she wasn't getting mental health treatment that she needed, which then turned her abusive, and it goes downhill.
It goes downhill, yeah.
So this is another movie that kind of highlights why you need proper mental health care, especially during moments where your brain chemistry is changing a lot.
And I just don't like that all the sisters, or not, I mean, yeah, I keep saying sisters because it's called the Ya-Ya sisters, but they're really just all friends. But all their friends are really vying for her, and it's like, yeah, but she was cool when she was young, and I'm just like, but that was then. Like,
I mean,
you guys aren't around. Didn't seem like any of them were around with the upbringing or the kind of like turn the eye
that
to.
is how a
any-
lot of things are done down here.
I know, and it sucks. But it's just like,
Because I can't tell you how many times my siblings and I were pulled to the side before we got to a family event and be like, you better be on your best behavior. When we get back, I'm lighting your butt up. Every single time. And we were perfect angels. Every time we went to a family event, everyone was talking about, oh, they're so well behaved. They're so well behaved. As soon as we got home, we were hellions. It's just how things, it's not right, but it's just how things are down here.
and they are changing. I know a lot of people don't like this current generation of kids, but I'm just like, no, they're putting their foot down early. No means no and all that stuff. I'm like, hell yeah. So yeah, if you want to see, if you like Sandra Bullock films, this is another Sandra Bullock film. It's not a comedy, or at least
It has some funny moments in it,
but it's not.
it's definitely more of a drama.
It's not one of her like you. If you think Sandra Bullock in comedy, this is not the first film that will come to mind. No. All right, driving lessons. This is just a cute slice of life movie that they're just like, hey, you two aren't in a Harry Potter film right now. You want to do this script? And Rupert Grint and what's her name, Julie Walters were both like, sure. And this is like where we get to see like, hey, Rupert Grint he definitely can't act, but like some people were just like,
this wasn't him playing off Emma
yeah,
Watson
this
and
is
Daniel Radcliffe.
this is like he can like just if you just put him in a drama, he can work his butt off and act. And we're like, cool. And then he's gone on to do just a bunch of other cool stuff afterwards. So it's just like, yeah. But yeah, this is just, slice of life. They're not related this time.
No,
he's basically her chauffeur / friend or eventual assistant, because she's basically needs Julie Walters' character basically just needs somebody to help her with chores and driving around the house because she doesn't know how to drive. She doesn't have a license, and he's just like, I think he has his learner's permit. So he's, technically able to drive. But they get into a couple minor car accidents, but it's nothing that just like you can just buff it out kind of stuff. And that really the driving, like, that doesn't really become a part of like they get into a big accident or anything. It's just like he's just driving her around and they have conversations and they go to events and stuff, and basically he's kind of shy and she's there. Julie Walters is there to get him out of his shell and like, see other perspectives, talk to people, kind of do all this stuff that,
and you get to see a huge part of the reason why he is so anxious throughout the majority of this movie is because he's got a really overbearing mom.
Yeah.
And that's where like the heart of the drama is. Like the main drama in this movie is between the mom,
played by Laura Linney, by the way, which does a fantastic job,
and Rupert Grint's character Ben. Like the majority of the drama is basically him trying to grow up.
Yeah, and the mom trying
really
to keep
resisting
him.
it.
Yeah.
Which is also something that happens a lot, especially with mothers and sons.
And that's just kind of a not even just a generational thing. Just it happens with every kid
parents
at some
don't like
point
to see
in time.
their kids growing up.
They don't.
Especially when that kid starts having their own opinions and their own thoughts and their own wants, and it doesn't.
And
line up exactly what you need.
in this case, technically, he's starting to have his own freedom because he has his driver's permit, which means as long as somebody's in the car that has a driver's license, he can go wherever he wants to. So, that's always frightening as a parent, or, as, friends of parents are just like, oh yeah, this kid that used to babysit is now
change their diapers,
driving. Oof. But yeah, it's a nice little British cast film.
And Julie Walters gets to be unhinged in this, and it's fantastic.
But to be fair, she always gets to be unhinged. I don't think she'd accept a script if she wasn't allowed to be unhinged.
If she doesn't get to do her yelling.
Her yelling.
I love when she yells.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Yep. Do you know which between what films this like for the Harry Potter was for?
I'm not sure. Judging by the hair, I think it's between 4 and 5.
I've got to say because he's got that
He's got
long
the
hair.
four's haircut.
Yeah. All right. All right. So we got two films. We got Elizabeth and the sequel, Elizabeth: The Golden Age. Both of them starring
Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett as Elizabeth. I really don't care for this time period of stuff, except for Reign. I have become a fan of the television show Reign, but to be fair, it's probably because it's just it's more of melodrama type of stuff, and the just the cast is a lot more larger. So we got a bunch of different storylines than just the Elizabethan stuff or the Mary Queen of Scots stuff. Kind of that is in there, but then you got all these other storylines that probably
the
really
French court and
yeah. Some stuff is like probably didn't happen, but we're gonna put it in this anyway to make it more interesting. Whereas this is just straight up the Elizabethan ages from like when she becomes
Yeah, it starts right when her older sister gets sick.
right.
So it starts with the false pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a tumor.
And then it goes in through the sequel, which is the war.
The Spanish Armada
Spanish Armada.
and the execution of Mary.
Mary, yeah.
Which, it hits like pretty much all the big points in her reign, but it switches around between the two movies, switches around timelines, switches around events, adds things in that weren't there, takes things out that were there. So the movies themselves are really enjoyable in terms of like the acting is fantastic, the sets are great, the costumes not historically accurate but awesome. I think the only one that we can really say is historically accurate is the coronation outfit because they took that straight from the portrait.
Right.
So that's correct. But especially with like the first one, they try to kind of play it off as she like heavily relied on her male advisors when historians pretty much agree that no, she was kind of a badass from the jump. And they also try to say like from the beginning she was steadfast against ever getting married when really she contemplated it on and off and considered it, but it never really suited her needs, so she ends up never getting married and does say the whole I'm a virgin queen thing. And that's where the first one ends, is with her declaring herself the virgin queen. But what gets me there is that they try to say that she starts wearing the heavy makeup to emulate the Virgin Mary. And they do lean really heavy on the religious side of it for the first one, when there was a lot more going on that they could have covered. And the makeup was most likely to cover smallpox scars.
Yeah.
So, like, the first one
Which was, that was usual for that
Yeah.
time, is you wear heavy that's still a thing today. You wear heavy makeup to try to, if you've
cover scars.
cover scars, if you're, have issues with that.
So, yeah, it's not really reliable if you're wanting information.
Yeah.
It is a fun watch, though. In terms of, like, it's interesting. There's a lot going on. There's, like, the spectacle of it all.
If you're into that.
If you're into that. You're not into historical
I'm not,
dramas.
so it's just kind of, it's very snooze fest for me.
And I do enjoy historical dramas, and I love, like, the costuming and the sets, and
I like
it's like a
historical
little feast
melodramas.
It's like a feast for my eyes.
Yeah. I definitely agree. It is pretty films, but I'm just like, I'm kind of one of those people where it's like, if you want to get me into that sort of timeline, I gotta have like
It's got to be a soap opera.
Soap opera. It's got to be like Reign or The Great or what's it called, Favorite, something like that along the lines. I can't get into just like this, and then also there's the other one that came out later called Mary Queen of Scots, where it's just kind of a straight up drama of the life and times of this person that was in power. I am going to fall asleep. Whether or not it's acted well or not.
And that's like one of our big differences is I love those types of movies. and you'll fall asleep. And then if you put on like a really high sci-fi movie, I'm going to sleep.
When we get to those. Oh, buddy. Okay, Enemy at the Gate. All right, so I've seen this film like at least twice, probably more than that. But because it's just another World War II movie, supposedly based on a true story, only this one it's about two snipers getting at each other. It really just kind of gets muddled with all the other World War II films. They're like, I really, outside of that, I can't tell you anything else that happens. I know Jude Law's in it and Rachel Weisz, and apparently, we looked at the trailer and I was like, oh crap, I forgot Bob Hoskins is in this, and Ed Harris as the German. That's just weird casting. I'm sorry, it's Ed Harris. I'm just like, very American actor playing a German role. Not the first time this happened, but definitely the weirdest actor choice, in my opinion, for that. Anyways, but yeah, it's just that. I don't even know how. I've seen this film to the end without falling asleep twice. I don't remember how it ends. They have this weird thing where like anytime like somebody gets like killed, it like the background keeps moving, but they like get like frozen in time for like a split second, like it's a comic book kind of thing, and it's really weird. And every time it happens, it's just like I'm like, is that the DVD or is that? And like by the third time it happens, like no, it's just an artistic choice. I don't know why, because this is more something like would for during that time, like when they were doing comic book movies, they try to do something like that. Most of the time it didn't work, and it doesn't work in this film either. And I have no clue why they do it. It's so weird, and it just like every time it does it, like takes me out. I'm like, what are we doing? But yeah, I can't even say anything about if they're. I mean, they're all great actors, of course, but I can't really say if I'm sure they did act well. But again, because it's another World War II film, and we have all the same set pieces of a World War II film. I really couldn't tell you. What have you seen this one more than I have?
I grew up on this one because my dad's a huge war movie fan, so we watched pretty much every war movie we could get our hands on that he deemed not too terrible.
What would he deem too terrible?
He wouldn't let us watch stuff like Apocalypse Now.
Okay, fair enough.
That kind of terrible.
Fair enough.
Not terrible in terms of it was a bad movie. Terrible in terms of I don't want to scar my children.
All right, all right. Anyways, your thoughts on Enemy at the Gate?
We watched this one a good bit growing up, and I do remember really enjoying the performances of Jude Law and Joseph Fiennes and Rachel Weisz. They act everything great. They do a good job with the script they're given. Ed Harris is a really weird choice in this movie. Also, Bob Hoskins was a weird choice for this movie.
Yeah. I mean, he's British.
Yeah, but it was a weird acting choice. Like he never fit for me the whole way through the movie.
Okay.
Like
I didn't. That one is like that and Jude Law. I'm like, that makes sense.
Like Jude Law did a great job on this, like really diving into this. But what I always distinctly remember in this movie is a very, very awkward, intimate scene.
I don't remember.
It's so awkward. Like, they're in the middle of, I think it's supposed to be like the barracks with like 50 other people around them. It's awkward.
Huh.
Yeah. But that's like the scene that always stuck out to me is, did we need this?
Ron Perlman was in this? I'm looking at the IMDb page. As I said, I don't remember anything. I just say Ron Perlman. What the hell was he in this film?
I think he was just one of the other soldiers.
Alright. Huh.
It is one of those, like, they tried to kind of do a similar thing to Saving Private Ryan with the chaos, but they do too much of it. Like, Saving Private Ryan has the chaos in the very beginning to show...
And that's it.
And that's it. This is, like, every single battle scene does it. So this one is definitely one of those, I just grew up on it, and every once in a while if I just want to feel a little nostalgic for, like, spending Sunday afternoons with my dad,
watch this.
It's one of those go back.
Yeah, fair enough.
movies. Mostly because we don't own the other one he made us watch all the time, which is Pearl Harbor.
And then lastly, for this film is going to be Forrest Gump, which, is a classic. And, I really can't say much that probably hasn't already been said about this film, either one way or another. Yes, it's based on a book. Yes, it's nothing like the book. Yes, there's a sequel. There's a book sequel that makes fun of how the movie was nothing like the book. Yeah, Tom Hanks based his voice off of how the actual kid talked so that they can match up, and yeah, the kid is now in the Army or Marines or something like that. He went to the military. Yeah, it's got a lot of weird plot holes in it as to of what all Forrest did, kind of things there, but it's more of a fantasy kind of thing.
Yeah,
We don't
it's
take
just-
this seriously. It is, there's the whole question of, did Jenny give Forrest AIDS or rape him? And that's there's been talks on both sides about that, and I'll just leave it to. I don't really care. I just see it more of a Tom Hanks acting his butt off.
Yeah.
And we get to see all these cool special digital effects that were kind of new for the time. Like inserting himself into, like nowadays you see somebody being inserted into, old film footage and you think nothing of it. Whereas this kind of pioneered that. And it pioneered a couple other
That was really cool.
things that we just kind of take for granted now. As far as visuals go, like the ping pong ball being bounced about, and some other stuff. The feather is CGI, by the way. I don't know if any of y'all ever realized that, but it's CGI. Yeah, and I really like the Weird Al song. So yeah, do you have anything extra you'd like to add?
I mean, this was one of those movies that I think most people of our generation grew up on.
Yeah, you just already had I don't remember a time when we didn't have this on
Yeah, you
VHS or DVD or whatever.
You either owned it or it was showing on FX like every other weekend.
Daytime or TNT or AMC.
TNT, yeah. It was on all the time.
Or if you didn't have it, you knew you had
somebody
related to you that had it, and you watched it.
At one point in time, my grandma had 2 copies of this movie.
That's where our copy came from, was for Grandma. Because we saw she had 2 copies. One was still sealed, and both were the special 2-disc editions.
So we asked her, which one do you want to keep and which one can we take? Because you've got 2, and I think she let us take the new one.
She gave us the new one because she's like, oh, I didn't realize I had 2 copies of it. Yeah, sure, have the sealed copy. And we're like, cool, thank you.
And the reason we didn't personally own one is because I had one growing up, but when I moved in with you, my mom was like, that is the house copy. You cannot take it. You walk out of here with Forrest Gump, and your daddy's going to come back up to you and take it back.
And at that time, I think it was on like a streaming service or a couple streaming services. So I was just like, I don't need to own a copy right now. But it is nice to have because, it's a classic.
And it's kind of one of those movies that comes to mind the second somebody says Tom Hanks.
Right.
It's
you say Tom Hanks, especially Tom Hanks drama.
You go to one of 3 movies when they say Tom Hanks. You either go Toy Story, this, or Castaway.
Exactly.
All 3 are fantastic films.
Mm-hmm.
None of them are my favorite Tom Hanks movie.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get to that later.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is one I definitely grew up on. I think the segment of the movie that I enjoyed the most was when he was in the military. The scenes with Bubba. I think those are my favorites.
Really? I personally like everything after that because then it's him and Lieutenant Dan more so.
Yeah.
Those 2, and it's just because then you start doing stuff afterwards because that's when you like talk about Apple and stuff like that, and just a bunch of other interesting stuff. And that's where I really like the ping pong, even though I know it's fake and it's computer generated. I still enjoy watching those scenes. It's really just fun there.
I think the reason why I'm not as fond of the Lieutenant Dan scenes is because for like the first 3/4 of his story after Vietnam, he's so mean spirited, and it just hurt my soul. Which is why I really enjoy, like, not enjoy in the sense of this is a good time, but just enjoy the camaraderie and the friendship with him and Bubba, especially when you do get to the point later on and he's gone on and made all this money with the shrimping business that Bubba gave him the idea for, and he goes and he spreads that love to Bubba's family. And that just was, that made little kid me cry.
Also, speaking of little kid, I do like the first part of the film. That's young Jenny and young Forrest there.
That's a little too real for me. Those are scenes that are difficult for me to watch. Well, the Jenny scenes are difficult for me to watch.
Yeah.
The Forrest scenes are sweet and they're cute, and I do like really enjoy little Forrest.
That's where we get Run Forrest Run.
Yeah.
Plus it's just the kid reminds me of one of your brothers.
Yeah, the middle one.
Yeah. Looks very much like him. Talks a lot like him.
That was one of his nicknames growing up because the ears.
The ears, yep. And so that comes to the end of another video. Let us know what your thoughts were. And if we had skipped a film, as I said, we're going in alphabetical order for these. So if we skipped over a film from C to beginning of F that you personally enjoy, let us know down in the comments. Some of these we do have on VHS, so we will eventually get to. But with dramas, there's just so many of them. You only know of so many of them. And yeah, any of the films that we talked about, you have your own thoughts of, definitely, comment. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. And if you want to hear more of us talk about these films, definitely check out the other ones and make sure to subscribe. We do these at the end of every month. So we'll be back at the end of next month with some more drama films. Until next time, thank you and have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.